what she is suffering from still remains a big question. Was she truly undiagnosed and untreated with schizophrenia at the time? And was she in the throes of a psychotic break at the time she stabbed her mother 23 times? Let's talk about it. I want to bring in my guest. He's standing by in New York City. Trial attorney Rich Schoenstein is with us. Rich, good morning. Good to see you on this Monday. Tell us, if you would, please, who do you think has the stronger side of the case here and why, please?
Well, first of all, Julie, good morning to you, and congratulations on your new show, which I was able to catch this morning.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that.
It's fabulous.
You have to come on soon. We'll get you an hour earlier on the program soon.
I'll set my alarm. So you listen, this case, and you know me, I'm not huge on expert witnesses. I tend to watch the fact witnesses more than the experts. But this is a case where I really want to hear from the expert witnesses, because I don't know anything about psychotic breaks. I don't know anything about schizophrenia. And all I know is this is a horrifying, unimaginable crime. It's extremely violent because of how many times she stabbed her mother. It's extremely personal, obviously, because it is the mother. And I have that information. But to the extent this case hinges on her mental state, I'm going to need to rely on the expert witnesses, and I really want to see what they have to say about it.
I'm with you, Rich. We sure do. This is really going to be key to the case. What these experts say and how they say it, how effective they are for this jury. And the defense has not one, but two or three experts. They have three. Don Malarsic promised, who are going to be coming forward and giving testimony. So the defense is going to pack quite a punch in their evidence presentation. I think they really already have in their opening statements. The state is really hanging its hat on all the lies, right? You know, they're trying to make this seem really sinister, as if these lies mean that she can form the criminal intent to do the murder. And the defense is really embracing it, as you know, Rich. I mean, they're saying, yes, she was living in this false world that she created. When I hear the defense arguments, you know, I start to think, oh, state of Ohio, I'm a little worried here, because the lies don't necessarily mean she can form that criminal intent at the time she did the homicide. Talk to me, Rich. Would you be concerned if you're the state of Ohio on this one?
I'm concerned if I'm the state of Ohio because of the defense appears pretty strong. The lies are, you know, part of the facts. Both sides are stuck with these facts. She was lying about being in school. She lied before the crime. She lied after the crime. That is just the lay of the land if you're prosecuting or defending this case. So the prosecution's going to say that the lies prove there was no psychotic break here. There was no change in personality. This is who she was from the beginning of the lies, through the murder, through the continuation of the lies. And the defense is going to say, no, no, no. The lies prove fundamentally that she is so detached from reality that she can't be held accountable from her actions.
Rich Schoenstein, thank you so much. We know this is a tricky one, which is why we found ourselves at trial on it. Stand by, if you would, please, my friend. We've got Rich, what did you think about Sidney Powell being able to leave with her uncle ahead of this testimony that we know is very upsetting and graphic?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised. You know, that's something that's in the trial judge's discretion. The last time I saw this actually was Lori Vallow Daybell tried to leave her trial in the middle of some of the upsetting testimony, and that judge said no. She had to sit there and watch it. I remember noting that at the time. So the judges are free to handle it as they like. And I sort of think it sends a it sends a message to the jury when you let the defendant leave during that kind of testimony. And I'm a little skeptical of it, to tell you the truth.
Sure. Well, you know, and I have to say, and thank you for pointing that out. Yes, you're right, Rich. It is in the judge's discretion. And I think it's very smart of our friend Don Malarsic to ask to do it. Why not? The worst that can happen is the judge says no, like the example you shared, which is a great one, Rich, with Lori Vallow, where the judge, you're going to stay and listen to this. And so, look, he's asking and she's allowing her to go. Clearly, she's struggling. I think we can all agree, whatever the source of the emotion is, we don't know, but she's crying an awful lot, covering her ears, having a hard time keeping it together through much of this testimony. So who knows what would happen with what we're hearing right now. And I'm hearing that the tech trouble is over. Let's go back in together live. Rich Schoenstein is our legal analyst guest standing by in New York this morning, watching along with us. Rich, what'd you think of Dad with the defense there?
I thought he was a compelling witness for the defense at the end there because, those are the right questions. You know these two people better than anybody. They didn't argue. They didn't fight. There was no violence. You don't believe that this happened because of an argument. Those are compelling answers from the person who would know better than anybody, who, by the way, comported himself very well as a witness. So that means this attack on her mother came from nowhere. I mean, there's no motive here. I don't know how the state could prove this was premeditated or planned or anything like that. So it appears to be some sort of heat of the moment thing. And I go back to really wanting to hear from the expert witnesses to try to explain how that might fit in to her mental state.
Right. It's really going to hinge on what they share with us because it did come out of nowhere. I mean, there is no indication that this young woman was any kind of a problem throughout her life. This is a rule follower, very academically dedicated and inclined to do well, honor student, never even made a B in school. And then she goes to Mount Union and flunks. And nobody knows, and her sorority sisters don't have any indication, and other friends in the dorm don't have any indication that anything is wrong because she's still behaving like it's normal. But yet we know this was very out of character for Sidney Powell. In terms of what the diagnosis is and how that relates, Rich Schoenstein, how would you do it with these experts? If you're on the defense side, what would your presentation look like? Essentially, would you call the experts first? Would you lay the groundwork with lay witnesses first and then get to the experts, button it up with some lay witnesses? How would you fashion your presentation if you're our friend Don Milarczyk, please?
Who's a great lawyer, by the way, and is doing a great job so far.
Yeah,
now, listen, I'm going to make an assumption to answer this question, and my assumption is the defendant's not testifying, which I think in this kind of case, I would be surprised if they put her on the stand for obvious reasons. So assuming she's not testifying, my instinct would be to have the experts at the end of the case so they can be responding to all of the facts that have been presented. Give the jury all of the facts, give the full history about this defendant, the fact that she had what appeared to be such a great relationship with her family. Something happened at that school that was very troubling. Her academics suddenly went off a cliff, which was very strange from her. She has this sense that her dad talked about, that she's the only person in the world going through it, that her friends have all their stuff together and she doesn't, which is a common teenage misconception. But I'd put all those facts on the table and then bring in the best expert witness I have to tie it up and explain to the jury what it means.
Rich Schoenstein, thank you for that. Stand by if you would.